Good morning, everyone. We have a special guest today who's been throwing a fit. What's your name?
No pants.
Is your name? Oh, no pants. Yeah, no pants, James.
I get new one.
You need to get new ones? James decided to throw a fit and spill his green smoothie all over his pants. Why? Why'd you do that? No. He didn't eat any of his oatmeal and he spilt his green smoothie all over his pants. And now he's No Pants James. Who are you? You No Pants James? Yeah, No Pants James. Today we're going to be discussing how to spot or how to attack strong pre-flop ranges after the flop. Interesting topic. Also, we're going to be drawing the winners for three $500 buy-in World Series Poker Big 50 seats. A lot of you have gotten lots of entries to this, so we may do another giveaway in the very near future because lots of you are going to be disappointed. So many people have tons and tons and tons of entries, and well, we're only giving away 3. Can you say bye to everyone? Can you blow a kiss? Yeah, you see James over there too. Are you going to be nice? No crying, okay? I'm doing a show. I need you to be quiet. He was literally screaming his head off for the last 15 minutes. Give me a kiss. Give Daddy a kiss. All right, see you. We love you. Go on. Go find Dalma. Thank you. Love you. Dalma's up front. Bye. No, sir. Go find Dalma. You gotta go find Dalma. This may be a loud day today. Bye. Be good. Be good. What a good morning, huh? Every once in a while, James throws a fit. And that is A-okay. I was hoping we would not have to do a drawing with a baby screaming his head off. But I guess that's how it goes every once in a while. See a bunch of regulars here. Here we have Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe is here literally every single day. It's always fun. James has a mind on his own. Indeed, he does. James is a good boy, but a crying boy. Am I doing the drawing today? Of course I am. I'm waiting for people to trickle in. So first things first, let's talk about poker. So what are some spots where you can attack strong pre-flop ranges? All right, first things first. When do you know your opponent has a strong pre-flop range? Well, the most obvious spot for this is when they raise from early position, right? Whenever your opponent raises from early position, their range should be pretty strong, right? Just think about it, right? That's the scenario where they should have aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens, nines, ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, king, queen, right? They should just have good, solid cards. So, let's say you call in the big blind with all sorts of stuff, right? Because if they make a min raise in a tournament like they often will, you will need to call with a decently wide range in the big blind because you're getting amazing pot odds, right? You have to put in 1 big blind to win 6 or something like that, right? Due to the blinds and the antes. So you're getting amazing, amazing pot odds. So in this scenario, we're going to presume you're in the very common spot of early to middle position raises. We are in the big blind, okay? What flops are good for you and which flops are bad for you? Well, first things first, your opponent is always, or essentially always, going to have the range advantage. Meaning, if you run their whole range against your whole range in an equity calculator, you're going to see that at worst, they have like 50%. At best, they're going to have a huge amount, like 70%, a lot, depending on exactly how strong their range is. So, when should you be looking to attack them? Well, the main time is when they don't have the nut advantage, meaning who has more nut hands in their range. So, think about which boards are best for the pre-flop caller and the big blind, and which are worse for the pre-flop raiser, right? There's a little trivia for all of you. Typically, the best flop for the pre-flop raiser is Ace 7-6. Obviously, there are many others that are comparable to that or equally good, but on Ace 7-6, the initial raiser is going to have the big blind caller demolished, absolutely demolished. So that's the best hand for the pre-flop raiser. The worst or best board, the worst board for the pre-flop raiser is 7-6-5. 7-6-5 is the worst board for the pre-flop raiser because the big blind's going to have all sorts of straights, 2 pairs, etc. So, knowing that, what are boards that are similar to 7-6-5? Well, on boards like 976, 985, 876, I wrote some down, 6764, etc. These are all very good for the pre-flop caller, right? DeMonte says A76, really? Really? You would have thought two big cards. Well, run it in Pile Solver and you will see which one has more equity. So, on boards, like those middle coordinated boards, often as the pre-flop caller in the big blind, you should be looking to do a decent amount of check raising or leading. Both plays are very viable on this type of board. So the times you want to be check raising are very often when you can check raise and not be all in. You can check raise small. If a check raise would put you all in, perhaps leading needs to be more of a viable strategy. Typically, you want to make sure you are the one putting in the last bets whenever you are betting. And also, if you do have a range including a lot of nut hands, you should be leading some nut hands, or check raising some nut hands. You also want to make sure you have draws. So what are draws on 985? Well, there are some obvious ones like 10-9. I'm sorry, 9-8. What board did I say? 9-8-5. So you have Jack 10. You have 10-7. But then you also have random hands with a 7 or 6 for gut shots. For example, on 9-8-5, a hand like Queen 6 has no showdown value, but it actually has a decent amount of equity. So that's a pretty good hand to check raise in that spot. Because if your opponent shoves on you, you just fold, right? And if they fold, great. If they call, well, you can get a queen and probably be good, and you can get a straight and be good. So those are scenarios where very often you want to be check raising with your nut hands. Like on 9-8-5, you'd have 9-8, you'd have 9-5 suited, you have 8-5 suited, maybe offsuit versions too, depending on where your opponent raised from. You have 7-6 for the nuts, you have sets. And you may find you even need to check raise hands like Ace-9 if you are playing relatively shallow, because you're just happy to get it all in, right? By the way, if we are playing shallow, when you check raise, don't check shove all in for a huge amount if you have a lot of draws in your range, especially if the draws are crappy. Because you really don't want to check raise. Like say your opponent makes this 2 big blinds, you call in the big blind, flop comes 9-8-5, and you have Queen 6. If you check and your opponent bets 2 big blinds, you don't want to check shove for 20, right? Because you're risking a ton. You'd much rather check raise to 4.5 with a well-balanced range, and then continue betting on turns that give you additional equity or turns that give you the nuts, right? And if you make a marginal made hand, you can very often check. So that's that. Say the turn's a 3, do we half pot? Oh, you're giving me some random hand. Gerald, listen, we're in the middle of a in-depth conversation on this specific scenario. We're not going to be going through your hands at the moment. Assume the best stack size to attack an early position raiser is around 50 big blinds. I actually don't know about that. It depends on the board, right? As you're deeper and deeper, you get to attack more with the draws because you can apply immense pressure. So I think it's probably better to attack as you get deeper stacked. Okay, so that's the first spot where you need to be looking to attack, when it's middle card boards. Not particularly low card boards, like 7-6, 7-5-2, or 7-3-2. Those are actually still pretty good for the pre-flop raiser, because on boards like that, Ace-King is still pretty decent, right? And given Ace-King is still pretty decent on that board, you can't really attack too hard. But on 9-8-5, Ace-King is not decent, right? It's a different scenario. All right, seems like some people have trickled in, so why don't we give away $1,500? Hope this program works. All right, so we have been giving away, we've been running a raffle for the last month and a half or so, and we're going to be giving away $1,500. I'm going to take it and I'm going to hand it to you through the computer. Whoever wins, I hope you're there to collect it, right? So, that is what we're going to do today. And the way this essentially works is if you shared the raffle, you have more opportunities to win. Now, I know some of you have thousands of entries because you shared it very well, or you shared it very widely. Some of you have one entry because you signed up and you forgot about it. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know how they're going to win. I don't know how many entries they're going to have. I have no access to that. But we are going to give away some money. So let me click this button. When I click this button, it should do it. All right, first winner. This person is going to get $500 to go play the Big 50 of the World Series of Poker. Also, a year subscription to my site, pokercoaching.com. You can get that for free, a free trial membership, so don't be afraid of that. Definitely go get it, collect it. I make that value free for you. And also 6 D&B poker books, I believe. think that's accurate. All right, first winner, Santiago Thomas. I don't know who Santiago is. Santiago, if you won, let me know in the chat. We will be sending you an email. So $500 and all of that for Santiago Thomas. Congratulations. All right, next. You want me to draw another one or you want me to wait? We can make you all wait a few minutes. What's with the cash? This is the cash that they are going to take. Oops, I dropped it on the floor. This is the cash that I'm going to give to those people. What's with the cash? We're giving it away. I don't mind giving away money. You all buy my poker coaching services. I am happy to give it back because at the end of the day, I just want all of you to be happy and successful and have the best chance to better your life. Waiting is awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and draw another one. All right. Oh, I know who this person is. This person might be in my inner circle. Jim Battenberg. Jim Battenberg, if you are here, say hello. I don't know if Jim is here. But Jim has been one of my students for a very long time. So congrats to Jim. Good job, good work. So we have one person I don't know. To be fair, I may know these people. I just don't know their actual name. But I know Jim because I've met him. I think I've met him a few times in real life. All right. Final $500 to go play the World Series of Poker Big 50. I don't know this person, but I may screw up the name. Camilo Taufic. T-A-U-F-I-C. Camilo, congratulations. There we go. We have Santiago Thomas, Jim Battenberg, and Camilo Taufic. Congrats to those people. If you did not win, well, understand lots and lots of people were trying to win, and also you're not always going to win a raffle. That is how it goes. So, thanks to everyone who entered. We will be doing more of these. If you all didn't know this, we've given away about $10,000 over the last year to all of you in the form of $1,000 to $1,500 buy-in seats, and we will be doing that again. So stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter at Jonathan Little. Follow me on Instagram at jcardshark. Get on my email list, and we will be emailing you that information. I want to make sure I give you money. All right, so again, congrats to the winners. They each get $500 for the World Series of Poker Big 50. They also get a year to pokercoaching.com and a few other things. So congrats to them. There's a chance someone doesn't claim it. If someone doesn't claim it, well, we'll do a redraw in a few days. Also, we'll probably be doing more giveaways for the World Series of Poker stuff in the very near future. All right, so that is it. Now, where are more spots where you can attack the preflop raiser? There's one more spot that's really, really, really good to do a lot of check raising. Think for a second. Figure it out. James says Craig says he did not enter because he's from down under. Listen, if you're from down under, we'll figure out something for you. Don't not enter just because you'll have a difficult time. Don't worry about that. We will figure out a way to make it work for you. All right, the next spot are when the board is paired, but the board contains middle and low cards. Well, the pair is a middle or low card. This situation we're talking about, for all of you who just got here, we are discussing this situation where middle or early position raises, big blind calls. We've already discussed the middle card boards, 986, 987, 765, etc., etc. But the other spot is when it comes any card and then 8-8 or lower, 7-7, 6-6, 5-5, 4-4, 3-3, let's see, etc. For example, let's say it comes Jack 5-5, right? Ask yourself who has more fives in the range when earlier middle position raises and big blind calls, right? Early position only has ace-5 suited and pocket fives and the top card full house, right? So very few combinations. They have 2 combinations of ace-5 suited, then they have 3 combinations of the top set, and they have 1 combination of a full house. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 nut combinations. Think about the big blind caller. I mean, they're going to have ace-5, offsuit, 7-5, 6-5, 5-4, all offsuit. That's a whole boatload of combinations right there, right? So they have a large chunk of fives in their range. So what should the out-of-position player do? This is a spot where you do not want to lead. You want to be check raising. And you want to be check raising small. And in that scenario where you have the severe nut advantage, because you have way more nut hands than they do, right? You have the trips and they don't. You get to check raise with a very wide range because your premium hands just crush your opponent. And that's good, right? Now you may say, but you don't have the actual nuts because the opponent could have the top pair full house. Like, of course they could. Just because you don't have the stone nuts doesn't mean you don't have the nut advantage, right? They have 4 combinations of hands out of their, hundreds that you demolish. So in that scenario, you should be check min raising. Check raise very small with the idea that you're going to bet the turn with a lot of your hands that improve their equity. And then you're going to be jamming the river with some combination of nuts and bluffs. So the hands that you want to be check raising is bluffs. Think about it. What are draws? Or which hands have a lot of equity that are not quite good enough to call with on Jack 5-5? Think for a second. Figure it out. The draws on Jack 5-5 are going to be hands with backdoor flush draws with either backdoor straight draws or a king or a queen. The ace high may be good enough to check call. So, for example, on Jack 5-5, if you have, let's say there's a spade, heart, and club on the board, 7-6 of spades would be a decent hand to bluff. And you check min raise 7-6 of spades on Jack 5-5. And it's going to put your opponent in a miserable situation. I actually had this exact scenario come up, I think, 3 times in the World Poker Tour in Montreal that I took. What place did I take? 7th or 8th. I think I took 8th place. Where I had this situation. I think one was 10-5-5, one was Jack 6-6, and I forget the other one. But I did this play. I checked min raise, bet turn, jammed river. One of them my opponent folded to the turn bet. One of them my opponent folded to the flop check raise. One of them folded to the river jam. And it's just tough to put all your money in that spot unless you have a very good hand. But imagine you're sitting there with ace jack on Jack 5-5, and your opponent check min raises flop, bets turn, and jams river for 1.5 times pot. Are you really loving it? Like, you're not loving it, right? So on boards like Jack 5-5, the best bluffs are going to be Queen 6 of backdoor flush draw. Maybe I guess Queen 10 with backdoor flush draw would be even better, right? Because then you have lots of straight draws. Queen 9 backdoor flush draw, King 9 backdoor flush draw, stuff like that. And then for a calling range, you don't really need to have much of a calling range besides a few slow played trips and maybe ace high and then middle pair type hands, but that's a really small calling range. So you may find it's best and easiest to implement just to check min raise everything that you plan on continuing in these spots. Trying to recall this hand I had. I think I had pocket 5s on Jack 4-4, and I checked min raised. I bet tiny on the turn, and then I bet tiny on the river, and the opponent called, and I was good. So and then he showed ace king. I think it was Jack 4-4 to 9 or something like that. So I checked min raise flop, bet turn, bet river small, and I would make the same play with the jack, and again some of the trips. That way your range is not all. You don't want to be in a spot where your range is all marginal, when your opponent could just have a range that does have some nuts and maybe a good aggressive player and may just raise you, right? I know at pokercoaching.com I often talk about this spot where you will essentially cap your range, which is not really ideal. You always do want to have some small portion of slow plays in your range, because when you have some small portion of slow plays, now your opponent just can't mindlessly attack you, right? Like if your opponent has many nut hands and you have none, and your opponent knows you have none, well, now they can just really make your life tough by raising. If they have even like 10% slow plays, you are screwed. So what you can do to counteract that is by having some slow plays in your range. If you have 10% slow plays in your range, and then 80% or 70% marginal made hands and like 15% bluffs, that's fine. It's going to work out great. The problem a lot of people run into is when they check raise something like 7-6 of spades on Jack 5-5, and the turn does not give them anything. Like say the turn's a king or a queen or a whatever, a 10. Anything that doesn't give them backdoor equity, they'll just keep betting. And then what ends up happening is you end up bluffing way, way, way too often. So you do not want to bluff too often. If you bluff too often, your opponent can just very easily call down with anything. If you all find yourself against a good player, someone who you respect as a poker player, and they do this play of check min raising flop, and then betting the turn, and then jamming the river, understand they may be over bluffing. I have been guilty of this many times, especially in tournaments where you can apply pressure to your opponent's stack to where they really don't want to call off, because if they just call off and lose, they're out. So in that scenario, maybe you do want to overbluff. And if I'm telling you I may be overbluffing, that means maybe you need to be calling a little bit more. Now that I told you that, I'm just never going to bluff, so we'll change it up. But it very is important to understand balance and how sometimes it goes out the window, especially if you have no sample size on your opponent. And other times balance is very important, especially if you're playing good player against good player and you expect to play against each other on a regular basis. Tyler says, your free 7-day trial to poker coaching ends on May 7th. You listened to the webinar last night with Evan Jarvis, Gripst. He even answered some of your questions. Of course he did. That's his job. We have a great program, and you're really enjoying it. Good. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Louis Philippe says he also enjoyed the webinar last night with Evan Jarvis. I believe we'll be making that one available on YouTube in the very near future. So check that out. And all poker coaching members get access to all of that. Some of you are asking who won the $1,500 giveaway. Here it is. I didn't actually give it away yet. I can't put it into the computer. But the winners were Santiago Thomas, Jim Battenberg, who is one of our members of poker coaching, and Camilo Tofik. I know Jim exists. I don't know Santiago and Camilo exist, but we'll be contacting them through email, and they'll be getting the $500 each. Boop, boop, boop. And then they'll be getting a year to poker coaching, so congrats to them for that. And we'll be doing more giveaways in the future, so stay tuned. I don't have it lined up yet, but I bet in about 2 weeks, we're going to have another giveaway for something World Series of Poker related. All right. So those are really the two spots where where the big blind caller can really fight hard against the preflop raiser. So as the preflop raiser's range widens, ranges will get closer and closer, so neither player will have much of a range advantage. For example, if you're playing against somebody who raises 100% of hands from the button, let's just pretend, which is not a good play, but let's presume they do, and you call in the big blind with only 80% of hands, well, who has the range advantage, right? You have the range advantage pre-flop because they have 100%, you have 80%. So in that scenario, big blind actually has a better range than the initial raiser, which is a spot that a lot of people don't necessarily think about. Usually that's not actually the case because most people aren't raising 100%, but if they're raising 80 and you're defending 70, you have the range advantage. So it's important to realize when you should be looking to attack the opponent. For example, if you have just better hands than your opponent, it becomes ace, king, 3, you actually have the advantage if you only play 70% and they play 100%, right? So you're now the one who gets to attack these boards. In general, though, against early and middle position raisers, the only boards you can realistically attack are middle cards that we discussed and the middle and low paired boards. Joel says, good morning again. This is becoming a habit. It's a habit for me. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We are here 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You mentioned sample size. Do you recommend a heads-up display? Of course I do. Everyone plays with a heads-up display if it is allowed. Which one? I use Hold'em Manager. I don't know if one is better than the other. All right. I have a lot of resources I use, by the way, at jonathanlittlepoker.com/resources. I'll type it in. jonathanlittlepoker.com/resources. How do I spell resources? There's a chance I spelled resources incorrectly. Kevin Smith here literally every day. But yes, we are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Sometimes we give away money. I'll start doing the drawings to give away the money live because that's apparently more fun. It rewards you all, gets you all to come and watch the show. And if you are at the World Series of Poker, by the way, any of you, not just if you won the giveaway, let me know. Say hi. Come say hi. I'll be playing at Aria for the World Poker Tour event and the Tournament of Champions at the beginning. And then we'll play some World Series events, and I'll go home for a while. And then I will come back on, I think, July 1st for the end of the series. So if you see me, let me know. I almost dropped the money. This isn't actually the money I'm going to send them. I'm going to send them money through the bank. We're not going to put this in an envelope and mail it out, so don't go steal my mail, please. Oh yeah, I'll be at the D&B Poker booth. Thank you, Natty. Yeah, D&B Poker is my publishing company, and we'll be there signing autographs some days, hanging out. Before World Series events on some days, I'll go in there 30 minutes or an hour earlier, and that's that. Callum mentions that surely that's the case only if you don't 3-bet anything, though. It depends on the opponent's strategy, right? If you know the opponent is... Well, I'm not going to go through all the iterations, but yeah, there are times where you do want to slow play, like when you're shallow stacked, right? Maybe you don't want to have much of a jamming range, although you probably do if the opponent's opening too wide because they'll defend incorrectly. But, yeah, generally you're 3-betting your best hand. So perhaps you don't necessarily have the range advantage if they have 100% and you have 70% minus the top 10%. It's going to start getting a little bit closer. All right. Well, I signed your Kindle because that's where you have the books. Absolutely. Is there a mini 1-drop this year? There is. Why am I standing today? My desk was up whenever I came in. I was making videos all last night. We have a new project I'm working on where I'm going through a lot of high roller hand histories, reviewing the play of some of the best players in the world. And whenever I make videos, I always stand up. I don't know why. It's habit. Seems like a good thing to do. And I came in here this morning and the desk was up. So here we are. We're standing up. Also, you get to see all the pretty trophies. Normally, you're all looking at the books. But we have trophies today. So that's fun. What else? If you make a deep run at the World Series, can you hire me as my coach? And will I rail you on the final table? It's hard for me to rail on the final table because I'll be busy playing poker tournaments. But hey, you can always contact me. And if so, we can perhaps do it. All right. Okay. So when should you not be attacking the pre-flop raiser? This is very important. Equally important is when to attack. The main time you should not attack, or if you do attack, you should attack very, very cautiously, is when the board heavily favors the opponent. If you run their range against yours, and they have something like 65% equity, and you don't have the nut advantage, you really do not want to attack. You cannot attack. You will lose tons and tons of money by attacking. So, for example, the most obvious instance of this is ace XX, right? Anytime the board is ace XX, your opponent has aces, and ace king, and ace queen. Whereas you have 2 pair, maybe. And even then, the problem is when you have 2 pair, that's a tiny combination of hands, right? Like say it comes ace 9 5. What 2 pairs does the big blind have? Well, they have ace 9 and ace 5 and maybe 9 5 suited. It's not really that many combinations. The initial raiser is probably going to have ace 9 suited as well and ace 5 suited, so you're kind of tying on those. So you have a few more 2 pairs, but your opponent has all the sets, whereas you only maybe have the bottom set and maybe the middle set. So essentially, you do have some strong hands, but your opponent's strong hands are an equal proportion of their range, if not more, because remember, they're opening a tight range, right? So, like ace king is a larger, or ace 9, if they're opening all the ace 9s, will be a larger portion of their range than it will be of yours, which means proportionally they have more nut hands, even though it's the same number of combinations because their range started smaller. But in those scenarios, you really cannot check raise much at all. And the problem with what a lot of people do is they check raise their best hands and then a lot of draws that are possibly available. Like, for example, on ace 9 5, if you check raise 8 7, 8 6, and 7 6, all the gut shots, you have 48 combinations of bluffs compared to how many nut hands? Like, not many, right? If there's ace 9, there are 9 of those, 9 ace 5s, and then 2 or 3 9 5 suiteds, plus maybe pocket 5s and pocket 9s. So you see, you have 48 bluffs and like 20 nut hands. And your bluffs are pretty crappy, right? So that's not a spot to be raising, especially when the opponent just has a bunch of hands like ace king, ace queen, ace jack that will not be folding. Some of you are asking about the breakfast for the World Series of Poker. We're going to be doing 2 breakfasts at the World Series of Poker. We're going to open that up to people on my email list first. We're going to have to cap it at about 40 people. Last year we had 40-something people, and that was a bit much. We'll do it at Hash House A Go-Go. It'll be probably 2 hours before whatever time the event starts. I have dates in mind, but I'm not going to tell all of you, because if I tell all of you, then you all make plans, and then we may change it, and then it's a mess. But we'll be sending out an email in the very near future. Let me write that down. Email about breakfast. So yeah, during the World Series, I'll be buying everyone breakfast. I try to do this at most tournament stops. In Montreal, we had Louis Philippe, who's here all the time. Louis Philippe was there. He brought a few of his friends. And it was fun. I think we only had about 10 or 12 people at that one. Mike Sexton stopped by, said hello. That was nice. And it's good. But yeah, I don't mind breakfast. I like taking money and giving it to all of you. Right? You take the money, you pay for everyone's breakfast. It costs $1,000. Everyone has a good time. It's not a problem. I'm happy to do it. A few people asking who were the winners to the giveaway. Again, Santiago Thomas Jim Battenberg and Camilo Topic. All right. If you're at an incredibly tight table with only one loose aggressive player in a small stakes tournament, it's okay to run over the table every other hand with him. Sure. Or go play against him more often. Depends on how often the opponent's playing, right? Don't view it as, I need to stay out of this player's way because they're aggressive. You need to view it more as, I need to play reasonable ranges against this player and not fold a whole lot because they're playing too aggressively, right? If they're playing too aggressively, then that's nice. Isn't the M concept better for defining multi-table tournament instead of the number of big blinds? People who read that old antiquated book think it is. I personally don't. I don't see a reason to do additional computations or calculations at the table. So no, essentially no one I know uses this M concept. They just understand how the ante is relevant, right? I think what happened to a lot of people is when they don't understand the ante effect and how that changes the game. So they try to make up concepts or ideas to try to simplify it. And you can try to simplify it if you want. Instead, just learn to play poker better. You have to understand, a lot of people learned poker a long time ago from people who were, fine, right? Decent at poker. But a lot of poker books aim to teach you to be either a tiny winner or a tiny loser. Because in their minds, if they can teach you to just be a placeholder at the table, someone who's going to go, play, not win or not lose, maybe lose a little bit, lose the rake, that's fine, the game will survive and everything will be great. But that's not what I'm trying to teach you all to do. I'm trying to teach you all to win a lot of money from playing poker. So how do you win a lot of money from playing poker? Well, you get in there and you fight and you battle. Craig just posted a link to my my pokerography episode. So if you all want to see my pokerography episode, check it out. Poker Go has a show where they make biographies on people. So there's the link in the chat. Or I think you can go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/pokerography. It'll come right up, the full episode. I'm not sure if that's linked to the full episode. James is a dead ringer of his dad. Yeah, James looks exactly like me. As a baby, our baby pictures were identical, which is kind of interesting. I'm up early this morning. I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. It's now 9:32. We've been up 3.5 hours. We do a little coffee, 9 a.m. at Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That is how we roll. We try to give back to all of you. Wake up, have fun, and enjoy ourselves. And get moving. Speaking of getting to move, I forgot I have an interview in 30 minutes. I should probably wrap this up earlier than normal. So going back to this M concept, it is important to realize that as there's more money in the pot, for example, you should be shoving wider in terms of pushing and folding in terms of big blinds. It's just like an extra calculation that's not necessary. Now that they have big blind ante, that really simplifies things because there's an ante in play. And quite often there is an ante in play all the time. Definitely not a cash game grinder if you wake up at 6 a.m. That is accurate. I chose a family life instead of a cash game life. Even when I used to play in Vegas, though, I would play from noon until about midnight each day. I'd go to bed, I'd wake up at 8 a.m. and have a normal life in the morning. Now I have kids. The kids get to pick when I wake up. But I've never been one to do the late hours. I don't know why. I guess because I don't enjoy it. I'd much rather be awake, get some stuff done in the day. And I guess I feel like I get a lot of stuff done in the morning time. You're going to find if you wake up before everybody else, you get a lot of work done because there's no one trying to take your attention and take your time. You have to understand, when people call you on the phone, they're saying, I want your attention, and I think it's more valuable than what you could be doing. When people send you emails, same thing, right? They're making asks of you. And you have to determine if your time is best spent answering the asks or working on your work. Now, if you don't have any work to do, then obviously you should be answering the asks. This is what happens to people who are very popular. Not like me, I'm only semi-popular. People who are very popular get like 1,000 emails a day with people asking of them, right? And at some point you get to the point you can't even answer all the emails. You just give up. I mean, I'm still answering every email that comes into me because I'm not that popular yet. I only get 100 emails a day. But if we get bigger and bigger, eventually I'm going to have to stop answering all of your questions, which is a bit of a bummer. I hope we never get there. It is definitely something that I have dealt with. I mean, in the past, I used to deal with literally every support issue that came in. Now we have a support team that helps with the stuff that doesn't actually need my attention. But I see literally every email that comes in to support@pokercoaching.com because I want to make sure the company's running to the best of its ability. Obviously, we don't do everything right. We do our best. But you have to ask, is it worth it when you have a lot going on to devote 10 hours a day to answering emails? Because that's what happens eventually. And the answer is obviously no, because clearly if everyone wants your attention, you're probably doing something right, and you're doing it. Mike Sesson says, I am the hardest worker your game. And he says I'm the hardest working guy in poker. And yes, I do work hard. I try to work smart too. It's very important to make sure you not only work hard, but you work smart. You write all the emails yourself? No, I have someone who does write the emails. I do write all of my books and articles and make all my videos myself. That is my job. I create the content, the actual educational part of the content. I'm not a great salesperson. I mean, maybe I am. I have no real actual experience selling things. I was never a salesperson. I was always in the service industries where I would, at the airport, for example, I would go and I would fuel up the airplanes and take care of people. I'm more in the hospitality and helping industry. And that's what I do. I try to be nice to everyone. I try to be a good force in the world, and I try to help all of you. So that's my job. You do what you do best. You want to ask about the shark. That's not a real shark. That's a statue. My mom got that for me. Nothing to say there. Funny enough, most things on the shelf have some sort of meaning or whatever, but I figured we put a shark there for fun. It helps when you believe in the product. It certainly does, and I know that all the products I create are made with like my past self in mind. What could I have done? What would I have liked to have in the past to make me a better poker player? And for example, pokercoaching.com is exactly that, right? I wanted it to be able to test myself and get in situations and not have to lose money doing it, and have at least some sort of feedback immediately. Because you can play all the hands you want. If you're not getting feedback from someone good, well then, like what's really happening? Yes, Jay Cardshark was my name. If you all don't know this, my friends call me Shark. It's funny how when you have a group of small friends, I don't know, 6 or 8 friends, and almost all of them call me Shark. Because I'm a shark, apparently. What's the biggest difference between playing cash and tournaments? Not really much, because the main difference is you want to be going for less thin value bets in terms of big value bets, right? Like early in a tournament, if you have 500 buy-ins, 500 big blinds, I'm trying to read all these chats. If you have 500 big blinds, then if you're betting 10 big blinds on the river for thin value, it's fine because it doesn't really matter, right? If you lose an extra 10, it's irrelevant. But if you only have 20 big blinds, losing an extra 10 on the river is highly relevant. So very often you want to be going for thinner value in cash games than in tournaments. Strike Flush says, I'm always looking to improve aspects of life. Yeah, I mean, all you can do is try to improve, right? We start off not knowing a whole lot, and that's it. How many people are watching right now? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't really have a good way to measure the data because, like right here, I see 136 are watching on YouTube, I think. I think that's what it's telling me. I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Because I know whenever we post this on YouTube, it's going to get 1,000 views. Some people are going to see it on Twitch, video on demand. These are made live, but realize that almost no one watches this live. Why? Because it's 9:39 a.m. All the poker players are asleep. And that's A-okay. I don't mind. Because I know that we get thousands of views on these on YouTube. And also, like if you told me I have 136 devoted people here who love me and want to learn from me, and they're willing to wake up at 9 a.m. to do it, I'm happy to do these as much as I can, even if it was for only the 136 very dedicated ones of you out there. All right. You went 6 months without check raising a single pot. That's probably a mistake. Your videos info helped you plug your terrible leak. You're now close to 20% caching now. Good. I'm glad to hear that things are going better. As it says, you live in Australia. I see that. Your icon is an Australian flag. What time is it in Australia? Is it like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. there? I think it's something like that. One out you. It's 6:39 for you. Wow, early morning. Craig says, you're lucky you stumbled on me. It's a 1 a.m. start. So it's perfect timing for people not in America. Which are, whatever. It is what it is. So yeah, 11:40 in Australia. So that's fun. Do you think there's a significant difference in the level of play at 10 cent, 20 cent to say 1, 2, or 2, 5? Well, listen, Tom, if you're saying 1, 2, and 2, 5 online, I think there is less of a difference if you compare it to 1, 2 live and 5, 10 live. 5, 10 live is going to be a reasonably tough game, whereas 1, 2 is like a joke. Whereas at 10 cent, 20 cent online, most people are actually still kind of decent. You'll see a lot of this whenever people do like bankroll builder challenges or whatever. It takes them a decent amount of time to move up from the small stakes because first off, rake is high. And then also, everyone's kind of competent. Like, no one's terrible. I say no one. Not a lot of people are terrible. Whereas if you look at 1, 2 live, half the table's terrible. So, yes, there is a big skill difference between 10 cent, 20 cent, and 1, 2. But I bet it's a smaller skill difference compared to live poker. I did a bankroll builder challenge a long time ago, for those who do not know. I was always going to keep good bankroll requirements. I was going to play only 1 hour a week. And I didn't quite realize how long it was going to take to actually double the bankroll. It took, I think, 40 hours to double the bankroll, which was like a year. So it took 40 hours to double the bankroll. And, I mean, to be fair, that's like 1 week of grinding live, right? I mean, I was playing 4 tables, so I was 4 tabling it. It took 40 hours to go from 300 to 600. And then I got bored because it wasn't all that popular. This was before Twitch was even a thing. Y'all may not know this. I'm an old man. I got banned from Twitch initially for streaming poker. Apparently, I was the second person to ever try streaming poker. Someone did it before me, and they got banned too. And then the third person, Jason Somerville, got famous. Go figure, right? Slightly ahead of the time, but that's A-okay. I'm playing an online tournament series this year. I don't know. Anytime I go out of the country to play live poker, I will play online. I don't think it's actually that valuable to go and play live online series. Because, I mean, the thing is what's your ROI in a live tournament, right? Or an online tournament? It may be 25% if you're good. And a high stakes one, right? Maybe it's higher, maybe it's 50%, but let's assume 25%. That means if I play 2K every day, we're going to make $500 a day. I can make more than $500 a day sitting here writing articles and writing books and teaching all of you. So it's just not worth it, right? So my online play now is spent when I go to play a big tournament series. After I'm done, I'll play online. Trying to think last time I remember playing, I final tabled I think it was the $500 tournament on one of the sites. I was playing with Lex, the streamer, and I kept getting the best of him. It was very, very funny. And he said lots of curse words. I guess he does that all the time. Will live poker ever be dead? No. Live poker will never be dead. Online poker may be eventually. How do you concentrate on multiple tables? You don't. You learn to use a heads-up display very well. You learn to lean on it hard. And you learn to play based on the numbers. So, it's your turn. The action's on you. You pay attention. And you do it. You make the play. Then you go to the next table. You don't sit there and sweat the action. One thing I learned a lot of people do when they first start playing lots of tables is they will, like say, go all in with ace king, and then they'll wait and they'll see what happens. But it doesn't matter. You went all in. The table's done. Move somewhere else. But the way you get good at it is you start by playing 1 table. Then you go down to tiny stakes and play 2 tables to get experience. Then you go to 3 tables, 4 tables, 5 tables. Zoom cash games are standard. Standard are definitely softer. Yeah, Zoom games are definitely softer. How did you sign up for the Big 50 giveaway? Big 50 giveaway is already done. We did that already. We had this money here today. I will be depositing this to the winners. The winners were Santiago Thomas, Jim Battenberg, and Camilo Topic. they will be getting an email from me in the very near future. And if for some reason they don't claim the prize within a week, I think that's how long we say we give them to reply, we'll give it away to somebody else. And we'll be doing more giveaways in the future, so stick around. I'm happy to take this money and off it to all of you. Let's see. You wish you had more sites available for those in New York/America. You need to talk to your representatives. Talk to your state representatives, your national representatives, whatever. Make it clear to them that you want to play poker. I've done my best with this. It's kind of difficult to do. Y'all may not know this. This is an amicus brief for the Supreme Court of the United States. Don't know if you can see that. It says right there, Supreme Court of the United States. That was made by one of my students, a guy named Ken Adams, very well-respected lawyer. And essentially he used me and my information to try to convince the Supreme Court that poker is a game of skill. And I don't actually know if they even looked at it. Brutal, huh? But yeah, I wrote this with Mike Sexton, Vanessa Selps, maybe a few others, and we're doing our best to try to get poker legal. That said, it's all about the money. All right, you think streaming is worth it in factoring an extra rate back in donations compared to the EV loss? I have no clue. Is it much harder streaming than just playing without streaming? I think so. And I think most people think so. That said, you get used to it, right? It's kind of like playing multi-table tournaments where if you play, multiple tables. If you're used to playing 20, playing 16 is no problem. So if you can 20 tables, streaming 4 tables is easy, right? Let's see. Amazing they would not even look at it. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if they didn't look at it or not. I was not there. I know they did not reply about it, which kind of implies they probably did not read it. I bet there are so many briefs written by experts, like actual experts, that spend their time doing these types of things, that just never, ever even get seen. But that's okay. Joel makes the interesting point that, like, do the live casinos actually want to block online poker? And it's an interesting question because the online players, or I guess if the live casinos run the online casinos, why would they be unhappy about this, right? I think the problem is they think it'll be easy for competition to come in and they don't necessarily want competition. Let's see. Pennsylvania goes live on July 15th. Great. How do you remember stuff that you read from books? I read it and I reread it and I highlight it and I write notes and I diligently study it. If you just read a book and it looks like you didn't even touch it when you're done with it, you probably didn't study it all that well. It's fine for like storybooks, but it's not so fine for textbooks. My dad has a copy of Secrets of Professional Tournament Poker. My first book, it looks absolutely demolished. So anyway, that's always fun. I think it's very important to understand laws. A lot of people don't quite understand the laws, right? I mean, someone actually posted something on YouTube recently trying to say, essentially, I don't know what I'm talking about. And then he proceeded to give information to his fans that are going to probably ruin them one day. And he doesn't care because he's making money from random sponsorships from the sites that operate in shady areas. And it's important to actually know the laws. It's important to actually do your diligence. Get in there. Most people don't. Most people just spew. And please understand, I do not talk about anything unless I thoroughly understand it. And that is, I think, why you all like me at the end of the day. Because I'm not telling you rubbish. I'm not lying to you. And I'm not... That's it. I mean, I'm trying to give you all good advice. Let's see. Washington State Tribal lobbied Washington State, etc., etc. Now it's the same level of sex crimes against a child. Yeah, go figure. Are you going to go to Jacksonville? I'm not. I'm not going anywhere until the end of this month. Oh my gosh, it's 1 month away. I feel like I've been doing this show and saying, yeah, I'm not going anywhere until the end of May, the end of May, the end of May. It's always been a long time. So, yeah, now here it is, a month from now. I'm going to Aria at the end of the month to play the $10,000 World Poker Tour $10,000 event. And they also have a $15,000 Tournament of Champions, then a 10K Turbo World Series, a 5K, and a 1K. That's the beginning of that. But I'm not going anywhere between now and then. Let's see. You said I've had a bad memory. I do. Quick advice for someone who has a bad memory on observing the table. Take notes. Always take notes. It's very important to take notes. That way you remember things better. And also, the idea of remembering things is very different than the act of knowing things, right? Like people ask, how do you remember things from books? Well, you study it until you know it. Knowing something is very different than remembering something. I was awful at spelling in school because I never learned it. I was more so just memorizing a sheet of words and then forgetting. And like I said, my memory is pretty bad. Short-term memory at least. But once you actually thoroughly know something, it becomes a very different thing. Let's see. What's the best time to play cash games at casinos? Nighttime. Should you add in value from various bonuses? Yes, you should. Do you like staying in the Dominican Republic? I think I've been there twice, and it was fine. I had no problem with it. I think I went there once for, I don't know what it was. Some tournament. I think I got a deal on it. Someone was selling a $7,500 package for like $2,000 that included food, room, food, board, etc. And so I scooped that up, went there and had a vacation. And then the other time was for the Party Poker Caribbean Poker Party. It was fine. It was nice. Next year they moved it to Baha Mar in the Bahamas, which is way more expensive, but way more nice. What are the timings for the live stream? These happen 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's see. Haven't had a losing session since reading Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em. Good. That's exactly what we're going for, TJ. Do you plan to come to Brazil? I do not. Brazil is a long way away from America. And I only really had one opportunity to go play a big tournament down there. As far as I know, I could be very wrong about this. They've only had one very big tournament, and it was just recently, and that was when my son was 3 months old. So I have not done that. But next year, it very likely could be a possibility if the kids are a little bit older. Where would I like to play poker if all the games were the same in Vegas? I don't really care. I mean, I have played a decent amount of Bellagio, well, way more Bellagio than anywhere else because I played there all day, every day for like 3 years. So I guess I'm always a little bit partial / nostalgic towards that. So I guess Bellagio. Although I think Ari is probably a little bit nicer. Do you have any PLO coaches materials in your program? I do not currently because we've discussed this. I only talk about what I thoroughly know. I played PLO online, 2-4 no limit, for 6 months. I wanted about 7 big blinds per 100, which is a solid win rate. But that was mainly just to get competent at the game. It was not to get proficient to the level of being world class and being able to teach all of you. There's a book coming out by D&B Poker probably next year that's going to be on PLO. It's going to be a very good one by a well-respected video blogger. You will probably can do some guessing. So that's it. My job for them now is to try to get them good content. We have a lot of good books coming out. We have Modern Poker Theory by Michael Acevedo, a very, very world-class online player and the master of GTO play. We have Mastering Mixed Games. It's called Mastering Mixed Games. I forget exactly what it's called. By Dylan Lind coming out very soon. I got that one together as well. We are getting that PLO book together. So it's important to play well with others. So many people out there are so concerned with trying to only better themselves that they don't better the whole community. And you have to understand, we are actually all in this together, believe it or not. I know that poker feels like a very solitary game, which leads a lot of people to be very predatory and very anti anyone else. And you can't be that way. Poker is a community. We have a great community, and we should be building it up and not tearing it down. Anytime you hear anyone trying to belittle anyone, realize those people do not care about you, and they also don't care about the community. So be careful listening to people like that. When's the new book coming out? Modern Poker Theory will be out during the World Series of Poker, almost certainly. Which countries I've been to in Europe to play poker? I've been to Prague. I've been to England. I've been to Italy. I've been to France. I've been to Spain. I've been to Austria. I think that's it. Basically, anywhere there was an EPT, that is where I've been. You can't make everybody happy. If you try, that's how you fail. Listen, I think you can make the vast majority of people happy and then realize there's always going to be 10% of people out there who are idiots. And those people are not going to like you. And I'm very happy making the 90% of reasonable people happy and, well, not caring about the idiots. Can you elaborate on the mixed game book? It's going to be on a bunch of games, including stuff like Badoogie, Pot Limit Omaha 8 or better, the obvious games like 7-Card Stud, Raz, etc. And it's essentially like 20-ish pages written on each book. There are I think 10 games in it, something like that. Not exactly sure, but that's it. Gives good basic advice, but then also some very in-depth examples to help you understand some of the common spots you're going to find yourself in. Did I enjoy London? I went to London for one day. I was essentially given a seat in a tournament where the buy-in was £100,000. One of my friends was essentially bought into it, and he could not go play. So he called me at like 2 a.m. and said, "Hey, Jonathan, I need you to get on a train and go to London." I was in France at the time, to play a £100,000 tournament. I'll give you X% of the action. I'm like, okay, fine, sure. So me and one other player went, and I bubbled. I think they paid 5 people. It was at the Aspinalls Club, a very, very fancy place. And I had aces against jacks against fives on the bubble, and bubbled. So that's nice. Have you heard of the book Unbeatable Poker? No. There are videos of my story on YouTube. And my blonde girlfriend. I did not have a blonde girlfriend ever. I have literally never dated someone with blonde hair. But there is a video about my about my life at jonathanlittlepoker.com/pokerography. Come back to London again. You'll show me around. And you can't promise I won't bubble, though. Yeah. Can't control bubbling or not. All right, I have an interview I have to go to do. Thanks again to everyone who entered the raffle. We'll be doing more of these. Be patient. They'll be happening in the very near future. The winners were Santiago Thomas, Jim Battenberg, and Camilo Topic. They'll each get $500 to go play the Big 50. And also a year to PokerCoaching.com. If you are not a member of PokerCoaching.com, go there now and sign up for a free trial. It's completely free. You have no reason not to. Spend some time working hard to better your game. Don't sit there and be stagnant, because if you're stagnant, life will pass you by, and, well, you'll fail. You have to continuously work hard and continuously do your best to improve. All right, have a good day. I enjoyed being here with all of you. Good luck in your games. Have fun. Be nice. And I'll talk to you later.